Good morning, everybody. It's the 3D Printing Professor streaming into the void. How are we all doing today? So, it's time for another monthly modeling challenge. I am coming to you with no plan whatsoever for this stream. I do have some big announcements that we can fill some time with. I did finally get Print-A-Quest out. So, the Print-A-Quest Kickstarter is now completely fulfilled. And that is due in part largely to the fact that all rewards are digital on the Print-A-Quest Kickstarter, at least this one. However, I have been working this morning, and I will be working some more afterwards, on making some. These are cards, which the green screen does not love some of these colors, but that's all right. I'm making some physical cards. I'm making some physical sets. So far, I have 5 of them. I hope to have 6 of them that I'm going to send out to reviewers. And I want to explore the possibility of maybe a future Kickstarter with physical rewards, or maybe just selling the sets. But you know, that's for a future. That's for future me. Today, as far as challenges for Blender goes. Let's pull up Blender real fast. Boop. There we go. I don't have any plan. Somebody suggested something autumnal, and so I'm going to just go with that one. In the comments already, we have Ken Weinhardt saying good morning, and then Ken Swindle. It is the Ken Club today, saying, I'm new to Blender, looking for some education on its use. Seems pretty hard to learn. I've been using OpenSCAD for years. I will say, let's start talking about that. So Blender, as far as being difficult to use, it is much easier to use now than it was when I got into it. They've added a lot of things to the user interface that make it much easier to use. For instance, when I first started using Blender, if you wanted to rotate the view, you had to use a number pad and press 4 to go to the left and 6 to go to the right and 8 to go up and 2 to go down, and then you had 1, 3, 7, and 9, which would snap your view to different things. But Blender has added a couple of things. First of all, if you take the middle mouse button, this has always been true, but if you take the middle mouse button, so most people don't realize that on their mouse, that scroll wheel is a button. If you press and hold that button and drag it, you can adjust the view however you want, which is a good thing to learn. But then also up here in the upper right-hand corner, there's this little compass. And you can click that and you can adjust your view really quickly. That compass didn't used to exist. So that is a brand new thing for Blender that started in, grief, I don't even, Blender 2.8, I think, is when they started to actually think about people who weren't good at learning keystrokes. The other thing is these tools that are directly above my head. These are all new. And if you want to manipulate objects, they've got this like combine transform gimbal tool that you hit, that now you take a look at this cube. It's got this little thingamabobber on it. Whenever I select it, I can move it to the left, I can move it up and down, I can rotate it around. I want to undo that rotation though, that makes me anxious. Or with the tool inside here, I can scale it. Oops, that's not the one. Where's scale up and down? Well, I can scale it in the X, I can scale it in the Y, I can scale it in the Z. So this tool, now there are individual ones. If you just want to scale, click the scale gimbal and now you can scale it like that. If you want to just rotate, you can have the rotate tool and you can rotate it like that. If you want to just move it, you can move it. Now, myself, I've learned hotkeys for these. So whenever I want to move it, I hit, I leave it on this tool here, which allows me to select multiple items. But if I want to move it, I hit G and I hit Shift Z and I can move it around just the way that I want it to. I'm curious. I'm going to come over here real fast to Blender's add-ons. Blender has tons of add-ons that are just there, but screencast keys, hey, it's in there now. It was gone for a little while, so let's install that real fast. And now you see right here, I've got a screencast keys button. And where's the, boom, check it. And now you guys can see, I'm going to bump the size of this up just a little bit. Let's see. Where do I make it bigger? How do I make it bigger? Well, now I've got screencast keys on. I'm excited about that. What if I just increase the font size? Nope, that doesn't. I'm probably going to keep it there, though. Line thickness, mouse set, shadow. Shadow. We got a shadow on our screencast keys? No, it doesn't look like it. Can I change the color of it? Alpha's all the way up. That's the problem. Turn the alpha down. No, alpha needs to be up. I don't know. Shadow doesn't work. I'm not going to worry about it. Boop, boop, boo, doop, boo. Do, 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 do. Max event history, repeat count, hold status, show last operator. I don't see how I can make that bigger. Maybe I can't. Oh, wait, mouse size. There it is. Look at that. That's better. If I'm screencasting. Oh, here's the problem. It's behind my head. It's right here, folks. So let's take this. 3D Puck channel says, hey, all. Oh, sorry. 3D Puck Tech channel. Gotcha. Sorry, I did not try very hard on that one. All right, let's offset it to the right. There we go. Now you guys can see what I'm doing. That's pretty good. And then when I do something silly like this, you'll see my key combination. That font is really too small. So that's better. Because you got to think, okay, so there's two things working. First of all, a lot of people, ooh, yuck. A lot of people who are using Blender are young people with good eyes. And unfortunately, my eyes took a turn. I got that, 50-year-old upgrade, and I'm not even 50. And all of a sudden, I need like everything on my screen to be bigger. But also when I'm streaming, you guys aren't looking at me on full screen a lot of the time, so I need those elements to be bigger. So good, we got that set up. If nothing else, we've had a good day of getting the screencast keys set up. Have to run a meeting in a few. Volt, always good to have you here, buddy. So, something autumnal. Okay, first of all, I don't need the lights or the camera on this one because I'm just modeling for 3D printing. This initial cube is, I'm just quickly pulling up the size here, is 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters, which if you know anything about 3D printing, it's teeny tiny. We want this to be bigger. I think, okay, here's what I'm going to do. A while ago, I made a egg holder that was just a tree. And I think today we're going to recreate that project. Unless somebody comes up with a better suggestion, which I am all for. I'm not saying that this is a bad idea. I'm saying this isn't necessarily a great idea. You know what? I am working without telling you guys what I'm doing here. Maybe that's not the way. So let me start all over. Let's start all over. Let's delete this. So I want to make a tree, a branching tree that's going to hold an egg. So the first thing I want to do is create an egg. So I'm going to use this with a cube. We also have cylinder items. There's UV spheres. Since it doesn't matter, I'm going to go ahead and use a UV sphere for this one. But again, this UV sphere is teeny tiny. How big is an egg? It is not 2 millimeters across. Most eggs, I'm just guesstimating here, are about 60 millimeters across. Now, most eggs are also egg-shaped, and this is not. Now, this doesn't matter. We're making an egg holder, but I nevertheless want to make it egg-shaped. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to just select the vertice on the top, and if I move it up like this, you'll notice it doesn't look good. We also want to move the next vertice, so if we hit Control+, we'll select the next ones. Well, that doesn't look great. Control+, next ones. No, that doesn't look great. What we really need is to move the middle one up, and then the next one and the middle one up, and then the next one and the middle one up, but slowly. Well, fortunately, there's a tool in Blender to do that, and it is called proportional editing. Now, proportional editing is hidden in a tiny little icon. Oh, which you guys can't see because my black bar is wonker doodles. We're going to fix my black bar real fast. Glad I checked my screen. There we go. All right, so now we've got there's an icon right here for proportional editing. Just it shows like a hydrogen atom or something. But the idea is you hit proportional editing here, and then you can hit the fall off. Okay, we'll play with different fall offs here. In fact, I'm going to select this one. I'm going to start moving it around, and then you'll notice there's a little circle there. If you move the mouse wheel up, it makes that circle bigger, and that affects the influence. Now right here, this is a curved in, curved out influence, meaning that it's smooth on both sides, more or less. Now let's change to a sphere influence. Now when I move this around, it's more or less pulling it smoothly at where you're pulling it. But that, oh boy, that looks like something, doesn't it? It more or less moves it smoothly at the point that you're pulling it, but then it kind of has a harsh edge when it gets to the end of it. Now, you might not be able to see this harsh edge very well because, well, one, there's not a lot of points that we're dealing with here, and two, they're all kind of rectangular, square and stuff. But trust me, it hits a hard edge and then it just stops. Its effect stops working. Root is kind of the opposite. So if I move the root, it's more or less sharp at the point that you're pulling it, but then it goes kind of smooth. I got to be careful with this. I keep making it look like something. Inverse squared is very much like root, or very much like sphere, but a different calculation for it. Sharp is fun. So sharp is just, it's very pointy, but it's smooth at the edges. So there's that. Linear is also fun because it's not smooth anywhere. It's harsh at the point, it's harsh at the edges, but the lines in between, look at this, are practically straight. Now this isn't straight because the original was curved, but it's as straight as it can get with the curved. Constant, okay, constant is kind of worthless because if you're using constant, you might as well just be selecting those vertices and move them around. But if you want to do this with proportional editing, then fine. Random is kind of fun because what it does is you never know the effect it's going to have on the ones around it. And in fact, it changes every time you move it. This is good for doing like grass textures and rough textures, but we'll be talking about doing that in just a little bit. So how do I make an egg, right? Simple. Do my proportional editing. Smooth will probably work, and I just take that one point and move it up, but I make sure that I've got other points selected. Maybe smooth wasn't the best. Well, here's the best part. I can do it like this, and then I can actually change it after the fact down here. So maybe not smooth, let's do sphere. No, definitely not sphere. Let's do root. No, root's too pointy. Inverse squared. Yeah, that looks pretty. You know what? With this, I can scale it like that, and it scales all the way down with it. Again, I'm thinking too hard about this, but I wanted to show you guys proportional editing. Great tool. Okay, let's move this up. So that'll move it up. Oh, I think my egg is twice as big as it needs to be. I need to go measure an egg. If anybody has some calipers and could go measure an egg for me, I would appreciate that. All right, so now we're going to make like a dead tree holding onto this. So I'm going to start with a cube. Now my cube is very, very small. So I'm going to scale it up by 10, maybe by 20. Okay, that'll work. I'm going to start by going into edit mode, going into wireframe mode, and then I'm actually going to turn on grid snapping. I don't need to grid snap something that's supposed to be so organic, but it makes me happy, so I'm going to do it anyways. Now I'm going to subdivide a couple of these here, take these and move them out so that it's a little bit more round. And now I'm just going to be selecting and editing and selecting and extruding. I believe I want that off now. Now I want to start to create like branches. Branches are the word. They start going around this. Unfortunately, I've got some good geometry for this here. So let's just... in fact, I'm going to take these 4 points. I'm going to scale them out to make the... Whoops. Not that one. How'd I get you? 42 millimeter diameter, 51 millimeter height. Groovy. Thank you, Ken. Honestly, you went and got an egg for me? That is insane. Thank you, sir. So 42 by 42 by 51. There is our scale accurate egg. Well, my tree is way too big now. So we're going to scale it by half, and I'm going to apply the scale real fast. All right. Let's start making our branches to hold our egg. So I'm going to grab this here. And actually, I'm going to grab all of these points, everything, rotate it around the Z 45 degrees. This will be easier for us. All right, grab this point here. Extrude out, rotate, move, scale, extrude, rotate, move, scale. And let's give it a little bit more wiggly in it. There we go. Perfectly. I think that maybe that's going too high. Maybe I need to move that down. Because we want this to hold the egg. We don't want it to necessarily get in the way of our... Because, you know, the whole point of this is we want to eat an egg, right? Now I'm going to use a loop cut here to just kind of cut this path in half so that I can do that with it. And then do that with it. You know what would be fun? Let me... I'm going to hit Control B. That bevels. Now, bevel can be used in this case to create some additional geometry. And what I'm going to do with this additional geometry is create like a little Y branch here. Isn't that cool? That looks really good. Now, you're probably looking at this and thinking, Joe, we didn't ask for a low poly autumnal egg holder, and you are correct. You didn't. But I always do low poly. But fortunately, we can actually make this high poly in just 1 second. And in fact, I'm going to show you something that I didn't do with the original that we are going to do today that will make this way cooler. Now, I'm gonna... That's good. I don't want this to go straight up. I want this to go... maybe that way. Now I do want to have like a branch with a, you know, late autumnal bird on it. Which branch do I want it to come off of? This one's branching. Do I? Yeah, you know what? I want this one. I want this one to be our late autumnal branch. So I'm going to loop cut. Move it around just a little bit. That's great. I'm going to bevel it to add some geometry here. And I'm going to grab this face. Oh yeah. We messed up here. I'm going to actually use proportional editing here to zoom in to edit just a branch here and move it out of the way like that. Now I'm going to take this branch, extrude it out, scale, oops, turn off that proportional editing. O is the hotkey for that. And create this branch that we will put a little bird on at some point. And I'm trying to make sure that it overhangs, that it doesn't overhang too much, because I don't want to have to print this with supports. Okay. Looking good so far. So let's maybe add some roots to this thing. And we've got to be careful when we scale because it moves up and we want it to stay flat. In fact, I think I need to grab all of these points here and just kind of move them under the build plate just a little bit. That's a good root. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I'm going to scale those out. There we go. And then I'm going to loop cut this and just kind of give it a little doobie like that. I want this one to just go out and scale down. There we go. I'm about to start channeling some inner Bob Ross here. It's your tree. You can do what you want. It's your happy little tree. Happy little autumnal, sad, leafless tree. And again, I'm going to loop cut it. And again, I'm going to jigger it just a little bit like that. That's an official term, jigger. I wonder what would happen if I grabbed those two and brought them out and brought this down. That looks fine. I feel like I need to do something over here as well. Do I want to? Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so now that we got this sucker, I'm having a good time. I enjoy this sort of like just loose organic modeling where I don't have to, I'm not beholden to any rules. I can do whatever I want with it. And I kind of enjoy it. But now we've got a low poly tree that can hold an egg. But we want a high poly tree. So let's really quickly. All we have to do, let's rename this tree trunk. And let's add a modifier to it, generate, and its subdivision surface. And if we crank up the levels, we can see that we get a nice smooth tree. Now here's a problem. I'm not saying a problem, but something we got to think about. Now, while I've got it smooth, you can actually go back into edit mode. You still got all the vertices, and you can move things around if you want. You don't have to leave it the way that it is. I want another branch come out right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that point, go Control Shift B to bevel that point out. I'm going to turn off the subdivision surface modifier for just 1 second. This looks like we got a Superman logo from this angle, but I'm going to grab these 3 points and merge them together. That way we end up with a face that we can work with here. And now, let's see, make this planar. That just flattens it out because right now it was like a taco. There we go. And now we can move this out. Actually, I may scale this up a little bit. Extrude it out. Scale it down. Make sure it's not smooth, you don't want it in the exact same spot. As soon as I saw that Superman logo, though, I got that song from the latest movie in my head. Have you guys seen the latest movie? It is spectacular. I really enjoyed it. We haven't had a good Superman movie in far too long. Not to say the other ones weren't good movies. They were good movies. They just weren't good Supermans. I've enjoyed Superman on the TV. I thought Henry Cavill is a delightful human being, and I love him, but I didn't love his Superman. And I think that's fair. You don't have to love everything that came out, but this Superman was just unabashedly nice guy, And it's been a while since we've had just an unabashed nice guy Superman. Or unabashed nice guy superhero. We've got so deep into the anti-heroes that it's nice to have somebody who's just a nice guy. All right. I'm just fiddling now, playing with different things. I think this will work. Now, so we got a smooth tree now. We want to have a tree that is not smooth. I think this is pretty much the way I did it last time when I made one of these for 3D printing back when I first started, back in the old version of Blender for sure. But I think I can do better. So what I want to do is I want to take this tree and I want to make it rubbity. I want a tree branchy. And I'm going to show you a quick way to do that. But this requires some advanced knowledge about 3D models and 3D printing. See, a lot of 3D models that you see, especially in video games, but even in movies and stuff like that, are a mesh that is covered by a picture. Now, we can't cover our meshes with pictures because we got to 3D print them and we're just 3D printing them in one color. However, we can take advantage of that same system to put a texture on our model. So here's what we got to do. First thing we got to do is go into the UV editing tab. In fact, I got too many tabs. I got to get rid of some of these tabs. I don't need texture paint. I don't need, well, I'll need shading later, but animation I don't need. And compositing I definitely don't need right now. Geometry nodes maybe later. Scripting I like. Rendering, you don't need a rendering tab. You just hit F11. You get it for free. Sculpting I don't need. Modeling I don't need. Why don't I need sculpting and modeling? Because I'm doing sculpting and modeling right now. Now I could potentially do this in sculpt mode. I could apply this modifier. I could take this and I could use my pen tool and I could do it in sculpt mode. But there's a faster and easier way, and here it is. First we go into UV editing. This breaks our window up into two views. On the left is a view of the UV view, and we'll take a look at that in just 1 second. On the right is our 3D view. Okay, I'm going to select all the points here, and we can see that it thinks that this is a acceptable way to wrap this. This is not an acceptable way to wrap this, but we'll talk about why in just a minute. Ideally we would like this loop right here around the middle. Let's turn off the modifier. This loop around the middle, and actually it should go here and here as well, should be represented here as a straight cylinder, and it's not. So we're going to fix this. So we're going to select all these vertices. I'm going to start with the side view here. I'm going to hit U, which is to unwrap it. You got to think about, like, if you're putting wallpaper on it, how would you wrap it and how do you unwrap it? So we're going to unwrap, and we're going to just say cylinder projection. Now, cylinder projection is not a great way to do this, but it might get us started. Look, it actually, that is almost what we want. That is close enough to almost what we want that I'm going to go with it for now. I'm going to grab these points down here, and I'm going to look at them from below, and I'm going to say U project from view. And now we got those there. And I'm just going to shrink them down and put them out of the way over here, because I really don't care about those points. I'm going to grab these points. I'm going to move them up. Okay. So now that we have our UVs unwrapped, and I'm not gonna sweat about the details. I'm not gonna sweat about I should fix this, and I'm not gonna worry about this. There's a lot of, in fact, I would like to take these branches here and I would like to break them out and unwrap them, but I'm not gonna worry about them for right now. We're gonna do this one quick and dirty. Let's turn on our subdivision surface. Let's go back to the layout. So basically what we've done is we've now told the computer, whatever image we got, this is how it wraps onto here. Now let's go. We're going to add a deform displace modifier. Displace takes an image and wraps it around the outside of it. However, we don't have an image, so we need to create a new one. And so now we have to go into the texture tab and we have to decide what our texture is. Now we could use an image, but they do have these wonderfully procedurally generated images that we could use. So let's do clouds. And look at that. It creates a texture that is all kind of puffy and cloudy. Now I should mention, this is not going according to our UV wrap that we made. It's going according to, what is it going according to? Local coordinates. Do those move? No, those don't move. If we change it to global, they will move. If we move around, it's like passing through some funky three-dimensional space, and it changes every time it moves, which is super useful in certain circumstances. But here's the problem. We don't control the scale of either of these. If we want to control it, we got to use UV. Now it is projecting according to the UV map that we unwrapped over here in the UV editing. And in fact, I'm still going to come back here, and I'm going to turn this on so that we can see it. Okay. Now it's not, let's increase the strength to like 5 so that we can really see it. But now it's taking those clouds. Now why are those clouds wrapping around in weird ways? You know, why are they going long ways? Well, that's because of the weight here. If I stretch this in the X, we'll see that it's getting longer and thinner. Or if I scale it in the Y, we'll see that it's getting taller. In fact, it pretty much expects, I think. Yeah, it expects that this, and then if we scale it up, this will make it look like it was before. Except that we don't want it to just be bumpy. We want it to be streaky. So what do? I am going to abuse the heck out of this. I'm going to scale it in the Y until it is practically a line here. And look at what we get here. Look at how this looks. This looks, except for some funkiness going on over here, and we'll have to play with the UVs to fix that. I'm just not going to look at that for now. What does this look like? It looks like trees now. It looks like a tree branch. Now, mind you, the UVs aren't working with us going around this corner here. For that, we'd need to go in here and maybe take these points. And, oh, wow. Yeah, I nailed it. And then move them up here. Yep, that's too much. We want it like that. And then maybe we'll take these points and move them over here. Okay. I don't know if there's any hope for this. Actually, I don't hate it. It's kind of doing what I want it to here. We'll go like that. This guy right here. What we'll do here is we'll see if we can't just basically straighten them up. And if we straighten up the UVs, it curves across the 3Ds. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but I'm going to go with it. Now we've still got this seam here, which is not doing things that I like. Now part of that is happening because these points here, really what I want is all of these points here. Not that one. And not that one. Okay, I want all of these points more or less over here. Now I'm not solving the problem. All I'm doing is moving the problem. But this is also creating a more vertical line here. So whoop, I regretted that immediately. Actually, I'll just fix that so that it is 0.002. There we go. So I merged by distance, so hopefully now these points are, yeah. Oh no, these points that I brought over. Yep, they're all merged together. That's good. That's the way we want them. I want these. I'm going to scale them by the Y so that they're more or less straight. And that basically hid. Like my seam is right there, but you can't tell looking at it. That looks pretty darn good. All right, we got here. What is that? No? Oh, that's that. Well, we're still going to straighten you up just a little bit so you curve around the corner here. Where is... Aha. Aha ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Cool. Now we're working on... Sorry, I'm fiddling here, and I'm going to be fiddling. This is the right way to do this. But... if you select these points, you can see that they get highlighted here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and move it up. Then expand the selection, take that and move it up. And expand the selection. Now I also want to select these. I think you're saying that that's you. Yeah, that's you. Now ultimately I don't want these to be so... the way that they are. Oh boy, we're getting some bad cutting right here there. And that's because of this seam here, not there. Here. Okay, well if I move it here, no, here. Anyways, there may be nothing I can do about that. Maybe I'll just have to add like a nest or something right there to kind of hide it. But there we go. Now I want all of these to be... Sorry, fiddling again. I want all of these to be scaled into Y and brought down so that they get that streaky look. Overall, not too disappointed with that. Like I say, we got to put a little tree there or something. But overall, there we go. We got ourselves a streaky tree, and I didn't have to model any of that. It was all automatic. So that is how you turn a low-resolution model into a high-resolution model without a whole lot of manual effort. And I like that. Now, we'll say the back of this branch is looking kind of flat, and I, would have to trace down... Oh, I think I know what the problem is. The problem is we're going around the corner here. And... yeah. We're going around the corner, and it's because these two are so close. When we put these two so close, they smooth it out. But if we can, I'm looking at the wrong side here. Boy, I can't find it for nothing. But I'm not going to actually worry about that too much. Maybe a little bit later. But what I'm going to do is, remember I said I'm going to put a little nest here. I'm going to put a bird sitting up here, hiding it. So that's pretty good. But at this point, I could just potentially take our egg, subtract out. That way we got a little hole that is approximately egg-shaped, according to Ken. That's our egg size. And I could just export this and call this a tree. We're good to go. But now I'm going to work on a bird. So we're going to start... I may just sculpt a bird. Let's start with a cube. I'm going to call this Burb. Maybe I will rotate this branch. And let's start working on a Burb. Yes, I am saying Burb. Why? Because it is funny. All right. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to get real dirty with this one. Let's duplicate that. I hate to do it this way. So the reason why you should never model the way that I'm modeling here is that it looks good on screen, but you have overlapping geometry, which always results in bad things for the slicer, and you have to fix that later. And so I really shouldn't be doing it this way, but I am for a couple of reasons. One, actually, I'm probably going to change plans here in just a little bit. I think what I'm going to do, extrude scale Y. I think what I'm going to do is separate the head so that I can model that separately. I apologize, this is not being very educational. I'm just kind of fiddling around. But I do have a series about modeling for 3D printing that it's a little bit outdated now, but it'll get you going on it. It'll get you started on it. I'm just right now trying to work out a rough bird shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, as clean as can be. In fact, I'm not even, I don't even know what kind of bird this is. I haven't thought about that. What kind of bird do we want here? Part of me wants it to be a blue jay. Maybe it'll be a blue jay. But the important part is, that we get the approximate shape right. How do blue jays tail? Well, now that I've committed to doing a blue jay, All right, I'm going to select the head and separate it out. And so this is verb head. And if it's a blue jay, what we're going to do here is I just added some geometry, but now I made it look funny because the subdivision surface sees these as separate squares. So let's just make it more verb head shape. And I need to do these as well. Boop, 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 boop. So this week, sorry, just random thought entered my head while I'm working here. Mostly I think because I was singing. But this week I added a new board to the Discord called music. Because every morning I wake up and I've got a song in my head. I do not know why. I do not know what for, but let's turn on proportional editing and do it this way. Every morning I've got a song. So I just thought, hey, whenever I got a song in my head, I'll share it. And then you can share your music on there as well. And we can all have a good time listening to some cool music. You know, here's the thing. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think I may not need... my plan was to sculpt this. To do sculpting on this, but I'm not sure that I need to do that. What I might do, since this bird is so daggum symmetrical, I may delete this half and just use a mirror modifier on it. Generate mirror. Do it in the Y, please, and do it before the subdivision surface. There we go. That way I just have to work on one side and the other side will come for free. And free stuff is great. Oops. Turn off proportional editing. Also, turn on clipping so that the middle of that doesn't get woobered again. That is a technical term, woobered. But, yeah, part of the reason why is because just now I have a song stuck in my head and... that reminded me that, oh yeah, we've got a music board now on the Discord. So if you have a song in your head, a song in your heart, usually it's in my head though, go ahead and, share it with everybody. You might introduce people to some new music that they've never heard of, or you might reintroduce somebody to an old song that they haven't heard in a long time, but that they really enjoyed. Or you might introduce somebody to a new old song. This leads to me contemplating about musicians. Not just musicians, but artists in general. They will oftentimes make a thing. Considering the size of this sucker, I will bet you I don't need to put a whole bunch of detail on here. Although, I will need to fix the overhang. That is not good. And I need to put some feet on him. We'll keep working. But I imagine at the size that it's printing, I don't necessarily need to worry too much about stuff. But I am going to really quickly... You know what I should do? Okay. Sorry, every time I hit a decision like this... I didn't want to move the cursor. That was 100% my contemplation here was, for Pete's sake, add a cube, Joe. For Pete's sake, add a cube, Joe. Grief, who taught you how to use Blender? All right. This is the beak. And we're going to grab these vertices and just sharpen them. Man, that little episode just completely blew out of my mind whatever the heck I was talking about. Must not have been important. If it were important, I would have remembered. That looks like a bluebird beak. What do I know, bluebird beak? Alright, let's get another cube in here. And let's move it over here for the eye. Bird's eyes generally speaking, fairly on the side of the head, although not that far forward, I think. But they're pretty sideways, owing to the fact that they are oftentimes prey animals. It's not exactly mirrored, is it? But they're prey animals, and so they sacrifice binocular vision for a wider field of view. I don't know. I paid attention in school. All right. That's looking pretty good. That's looking all right. It's not perfect. But again, considering the size of it, considering where it is and what it's doing, I think that's probably okay. Let's get some burb feet. And we're just going to use a cube. And what we're going to do is we'll add a subdivision surface on it. There we go. There we go. We'll just do that again. It's not elegant. It's not perfect. But then we could just take it. Honestly, this is gorilla modeling is what this is. So I initially thought that this stream should be called Streaming into the Void. But now I'm thinking I should call it gorilla modeling. There we go. And there we go. Model them a little taller. Oh yeah. Dirty. But getting the job done. Alright, let's add the second foot here, and let's just rotate it a little bit. Honestly, that don't look too bad. That looks terrible. But if I move it down here to close the gap, that don't look too bad. The only problem is we got to think about the fact that the tail, okay, I feel like the belly needs to come out just a little bit. Boop. There we go. Good belly on there. Gorilla in a tree. Not sure how that's autumnal. Hey, listen. It's autumn in the jungle. Sometimes. Yeah, it's true. We're not modeling gorillas here. We're just gorilla modeling. You know, got to be careful. Yeah, if I start calling it gorilla modeling, then people are going to insist that I always model gorillas. I have to get good at that. Now, the question is, okay, so we got this. Now, one thing I can do with the head here is I can just, now that I've separated it, oh, I don't like that at all. So the center point's down here, so if I rotate it, it rotates it around that center point. I want that center point to be different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the head here and then move the head here. And now I can move the head around like this. I think I don't want to do this, but I want to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the head. I'm going to select the feathery part, and I'm going to add that to a vertex group and call it feathers. And then I'm going to add that, we're going to do the same thing we did with the tree in using a displace. In fact, I might use the exact same displace on it. But first of all, we're going to only apply it to the feathers. Oh, I forgot to add them to the... I created the vertex group, but I didn't assign anything to it. There we go. There we go. Strength 0.2. Honestly, you're not even going to see that in the... Oh, my goodness. That looks great. Now let's go into the UV editing. Let's turn this on so that we can see it. Oh, we're not doing this according to UVs. Now we are. It feels like it's less now. All right. Okay, that's not the side that we wanted. That's not the side that we wanted. Okay, we're going to have to unwrap from view. The problem with projecting from view is that we end up with a symmetrical unwrap, but that might not be a bad thing. Let's see. So hey, GG for Jason. Good. I've been meaning to reach out to you, buddy. Because yeah, I want to know if you're going to town on this yet. So I'm glad to hear that you are. So he's printing the swamp right now, which is thrilling. Honestly, it's I print these. I make these models, but I don't know if anybody's going to actually make them. Like, if nobody prints the models that I make, what's the point in making them? Well, the point of making them is that I enjoy it, but I do want, like, I do hope that people will make them. So it's good to hear that you are, man. Oh yeah, that's because we got two sides here. All right. I want to create like a streakiness. Oh wait, no, if I want to do a streakiness. Okay, I see what needs to be done now. There we go. That creates kind of a streakiness. The sound effects are absolutely necessary to the process. Do not question it. Oh, that's lovely. Honestly, I don't hate that. I don't love that though. I know what needs to be done, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Okay, here we go. Not that it's not a question of strength, it's a question of how much I care. But I do care. I got to get this right. This looks like an alien walnut right now. We got to fix the alien walnut. Oh yeah. Yeah, the eyeball I don't care about. Okay, so this is just the vertices on the left side. The right vertices are still there. So what I'm going to do, oh boy, this is the part. Scale Y, -1, flip it over, move it up, and now select the rest of this. And see, now they need to be merged together. Actually, what I can do is I can just grab these, scale them into Y by 0. Do I have automatic merge on? I don't know. Yes, I do. Groovy. And now we're going to go with it. It's a little bit too much bumpy. I'm going to take it back to 0.2 so that it's very subtle. And here's the thing. People won't see this in the print, but they will see it in the 3D model, you know? Okay, I need to grab those eyes and that beak and just scale them down and put them over here because I don't care about it. They're not a part of this. Oop. Haha. Sorry, guys. That was not yours. That was mine. I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb. Apparently, I need to practice my Italiano. Which I think I forgot to do yesterday. Shame. You know what? I hate to do it. But I'm going to do it. We're going to do the same thing over here. In fact, I'm just going to grab this and say copy modifier. There we go. I mean, that's almost good enough the way that it is. Let's, oh, with the mirror on it. Ugh. I may not be able to not do it this way. We may just have to leave it like this. Yeah, we're just gonna have to leave it like this, and I hate it, but there's nothing we could do. I mean, there is something we could do. I just don't want to do it. It's fine. It's fine the way it is. Now, what are we going to do about the fact that the tail is sitting over there and it's going to have to print with supports? I just had an idea, which I don't necessarily love, but I'm going to do it anyways. But we're going to take this branch, this whole branch, and we're going to have it be our supports. So we're gonna shift things around just a little bit. Yuck. I'm gonna rotate it just a little bit and then shrink it and rotate it and bring it here. Yeah, that's, wow, that was almost perfect. I'm still not happy with the fact that this branch is the one that doesn't have any texturing to speak of. In fact, this is the branch. I have just decided I am going to continue to work on the texturing of this outside of this. This is unacceptable to me, but I'm not going to fiddle with it during this video. But the seam being right here is kind of a problem. Ah, screw it. I'm working on it now. Who am I kidding? Let's go. This is the part that doesn't make for good viewing. This is the part that, you know, people get bored at and walk away from, because it's not fun. This is the part that isn't fun. I don't hate it, but it is a slow, methodical troubleshooting process, you know? Oh, that looks good though. Alrighty. So it is all these points here. I almost just want to, yeah, like get a view like here. Oh man, I don't love this, but we're doing it. You project from view. Oh my goodness, it's, what did that do to it? Well, the edge is still wrong, so let's see if we can fix that by selecting all the points. What were you connected to? Why are you weird? Were you here? I'm just guessing that these two are connected, but I'm not sure at all. No, I don't think they are. Oh. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Not good entertainment here. Okay, that's wiggling there. That's wiggling there. This one is wiggling there. Is wiggling there. Is wiggling there. Okay, you're wiggling there. You and you. Okay, we're wiggling them together. You're not the one. Okay. Oh ho ho ho. Scale 0. Okay, groovy. I suspect. No. 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 No? What about you? Kind of. What about you? No, definitely not. You and you? Really? It's like Romeo and Juliet. Hoping to bring them closer and closer together. I don't love that. I do not love that. I want you to know. No, these are gonna do down here. Oh, I don't even want to think about where these meet. Oh boy. Alrighty. Hey, I want you. Okay, there we go. Sometimes I wish the modeling software could just read my mind. Okay, now I have to get this scene here. Yeah. Okay, I want this closer and this closer. And yeah, I kind of want this part wider so that there's more derbitus in it. But now I got to figure out how to join this to this. I think it's over here. Yeah, it is. My goodness. Where? Okay, first of all, we're going to grab these and scale them to DX so that they're smooth. That'll hide that seam just a little bit more. What are you guys connected to? Hold on. Where's it wiggling? I don't even know. Are you purely on the inside? Oh yeah, you are. Look at that. Wait, is that our seam? That's practically at our seam. Okay, you're not there. But you are. You're right on that seam. Nope. Let's move you over here. Close. Okay, I want to know where you are. Ooh, are you to it? All right. We got one. But I am afraid... Actually, those might be another. Oh my goodness. Did we just zipper it? Yeah, baby. Sorry, that feels good. All right, now... Oh, we need to turn off the Boolean modifier. That's messing me up. Okay, you have nothing to do with this conversation whatsoever. If I could figure out this side here. Okay, so this is... Oh, yuck. Okay, I don't even know what's happening here. Good grief. UVs are just a mess sometimes. Okay, that's good. That's good. Where are you? You're affecting something for sure. But I don't want it to be going way the heck up here. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. We just got our zipper, but it means that this zippers with this. Nope. Oh, good. Oh, good. What do you zipper with then? Because we got a gap here. We got a circle here. Ugh. All right, let's go talk about the chats real fast. I printed the original print request, sent it to my grandson. He and my daughter have been assembling and playing. I'll print the swamp when I get back from my mom's. The swamp is actually a much quicker print than the original one was. There's just fewer pieces. Plus, you use the original set in making the swamp, so just a better deal all around, I think. It's just easier to get into. Yep, there we go. Yep, there we go. Oh, man. There's a game I have on my phone that... Oh. Please. Are you telling me... No, you're way the heck down here, and you're way the heck up here. You do not zipper. I am concerned that the next zipper is over here, though. I mean, not exactly. I'm gonna have to hunt this down later. But I think I need to stop. It's been an hour. We've been having some good progress on this. This will be available on the Discord under rewards when I'm done with it, hopefully soon. I don't want to be spending too much more time on it. I am having a good time. It's been a fun break. This is, like I say, this was a callback to a model that I made a long time ago. So it's kind of fun to I don't know, revive these vintage projects. But I kind of feel bad now that I put my bird on the branch. Ooh, what is happening in your chest, bird? Great, we're going to have to adjust that. But, wait, I got a great idea for adjusting that. Hold on. What if we take our displace modifier and we just have it be instead of UVs? Did I do it according to UVs? Is that why it's the way that it is? Instead of doing it to UVs, we do it to global. Nope. Local. Nope. Back to UVs. But now I got to figure out how to... Yeah. You project from view. Sorry, I got distracted as I was trying to wrap it up. That's my life. I am very distractible. I'll keep working on this. It'll be done soon. It's only going to take another hour or two of fiddling with the UVs to make this work. And then... Oh, wait, no, we want to go this way. And this way. Maybe we want to do that to hide the seam. Oh, actually, yeah. Because if we do this... Sorry, getting distracted again, but that's all right. It kind of creates a more floofy here, which works with the bird's chest feathers. And then the wings are more streaky, which works. Yeah, that don't look too bad. And then we need to take this and shove it up here to make that. Let's increase this to 0.4. I love when it does that. All right, burp. That ain't too bad, but let's nope. We want the wings to be streaky, so we want it to kind of like do this. But we want the body to be floofy, so we want it to do this. There's a song in my head that I can't, you know, they're like, all the girls do like this or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to call that good. Because again, this bird is like friggin' tiny. So it doesn't need to be... Oh, the tail is still... Ooh, boy. I also am probably going to like add a curve to the bird so that it... Have I got my proportional editing on? Let's go back to the layout view so I can tell. Proportional editing. And then we're going to take this part of the tail and just kind of tuck it in here. Still a little bit of... There we go. Alrighty. There we go. Now our bird tail is perfectly tucked in, no supports necessary. I just got to trace down where these are and fix them. And that is, and fix that. I may end up having to just redo this entire UV wrap. We'll see how that goes. But, let's see. So, Ken, it looks like you lost your feet. Well, the bird's feet. Oh, yeah, where'd the bird's feet go? They're there. They're just inside the tree now. Thank you, Ken. Good catch on that. Now the bird's feet are visible again. I don't like the chest there. I want the chest to be more fluffy than streaky. So I will work on that. Wing streaky, chest fluffy. One of these days I want to design a little base plate to hold the PrinterQuest Health and BP and maybe a slider for the AP. I think that's an absolutely fantastic idea. I've done it with half block tokens, but you know, if you guys come up with a better solution, printer block is like everything that I do, kind of open source, you know. Would you say the source isn't necessarily open? Source is open, but you know, actually no, it's not. I don't think I've released the Blender files, but I don't know if you guys would want me to release the Blender files. I've seen them; they're not great. But it's definitely open to, you know, if people come up with different ideas for things, I am more than open to, you know what I should do? I should do the chest and the streaky parts separately. That's all right. Again, this bird's going to be this big. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm overthinking it. But I do need to work on the tree. So I think what I will do is I will work on the tree. I may make a little nest. But I got to get ready for work. I got to go, guys. Oh, Vince, you just got here, man. I hate streaming this early. Okay, Vince just got here. I can't go right now. We gotta at least entertain Vince for a couple of minutes. So we are going to add a torus. Do we want to do a torus? I want to do a nest. I don't want to do a torus. Here's what I want to do. I want to do a cylinder. Yeah. Because once again, I'm going to do the same sort of streaky trick I've been doing for everything else here. In fact, I'm going to start with that in mind. Well, first thing we need to do is add some more geometry, because it ain't going to be no good. Let's see. Whoops, no, don't apply that one. Copy to selected. Copy to selected. Now, look at that. Look at that. We got like, yeah, we can work with this. We can work with this. Boy, it's automatic. We just need to hide the seam. I noticed that the seam was right there, so we're going to hide it right there. Nobody will ever see. No one will ever know! If you guys don't know the Dover Boys, you should know the Dover Boys. That is classic comedy. All right, let's grab this face here, and let's I'm gonna have to redo all the UVs, which is my favorite part. I'm wondering if I can actually get all of my... Okay, first of all, I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, let's go back into the UV editing. Let's grab this bad boy here. You're doing pretty good there, buddy. But here's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to UV cylinder projection. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's kind of exactly what we want. However, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to start doing this. Oh, going up, going down, smooth down. I'm going to add little jiggies in it like this. I'm just going to kind of randomly grab stuff and move them around like this. And hopefully what I'm going to do with this is create some texture in this that looks like a bird's nest without having to model anything. Free burb shape. Okay, I need to grab the top and the bottom and just project from view, and then take these and scale them down and hide them in the corner because they don't matter. Okay. Now let's go back to our nest. Let's see. That doesn't look too bad for absolutely zero effort. That looks pretty darn good for a zero effort nest. We just need to make sure it's sitting on there. Oh yeah. Look at that, guys. Guerrilla modeling here. Let's it's not about doing it pretty, it's about doing it easy. Now we just need a couple of eggs. Oh! We got an egg! Sorry, I didn't mean to get all excited about that, but I just realized we got an egg. I just need to unhide it. It's currently hidden. Viewport display. Textured. We got eggs! Remember we made an egg at the beginning! Oh! I almost feel bad I didn't spend more time on this egg, but who cares? Guerrilla modeling. How many eggs does the bird get? Is she going to have 2 or 3? I say 3, because, I don't know, odd numbers are pleasing to me, but what do you guys say? Also, it'll hide the seams right there a little bit better. Or I could just hide the seams by doing like this. Seams hidden. Now it's up here. Daggum. There we go. I wonder what would happen if I took an entire line like this and gave it a tilt like that. What I'm wondering is, can I get free overlapping like overlapping sticks for free? That's, you know, that's good enough. That's good enough. There we go. I think we need, you know what? We need one more egg, but it needs to be like a baby egg. We got two normal eggs and one baby egg. Do birds lay baby eggs? Yeah, chicken eggs come in different sizes. So why not? We got a baby egg in here. That's cute. If it's autumn, there probably aren't eggs. Okay, Ken. Don't you be harsh. Oh, for Pete's sake, you're right. That's a spring thing. Dang it. You're right. You are absolutely right. You are frustratingly right. Ken, you just ruined everything. The whole thing, man. Okay, you know what? Hold on. I got a solution. It's dirty. But, you know. Sorry, I couldn't resist, Ken says. What about places that have the same climate all year? The birds still, as far as I understand, I may need to do some research on this, but as far as I understand, birds still kind of follow the same pattern, just adjusted for local climates. I hate how right you are about that. So my thought is, if I put a couple of leaves on this, then it's springtime and not autumnal. But the whole point of this was to be autumnal. And if it's autumnal, we don't have a nest. It's not a thing. I just spent all that time making that nest, Ken. It's okay for your project to be done 6 months early. That would be a first for me. All right, I'm going to leave it where it is for now. Whether I decide to add take away the nest or add some leaves, you know, if I add some new growth to the tree, then it'll be springtime. But the goal, the challenge here was to do something autumnal. And if it's autumnal, this all needs to go away. And you know what? I don't hate it like this. Okay, couple of things. First of all, once I get the tree here done, once I get the seams fixed, this will be done. And this will be done. So, I don't advocate changing it. When you said it was autumnal, I thought the bird was going to be a turkey. Oh, you're right, because blue jays are also very springtimey. You know, this is the last blue jay of autumn. We're gonna leave him. Yeah. Is there something? Oh, you know what? I forgot something. The floor is not flat, so we're just gonna really quickly add a floor. Oops. Let's put the center point back where it should be. Add a floor. So there's a cube in here. You can't see it because it's freaking tiny. But if we go GZ -1 and then scale Z, I mean, really, I should do 100 so that that's the size of a build plate. And then I don't want to show this floor, so I'm going to change it in the viewport display to be Actually, I don't need to, because if I just grab this, and hit Control minus, it'll do it for me for free. Now we got a flat bottom, and it'll print well. And there we got a nice little autumnal egg holder. I'm gonna fix the seam off screen, guys, because I gotta get ready for work. I'm late. I'm not late, but I'm gonna be in a couple of minutes. So thank you all for hanging out with me for a couple of minutes. And there we go. There's our. You know what fine. I'm gonna do it, but I don't want to do it. We're gonna go into material preview. We're going to add some textures to this. This material is just going to be a brownish texture. There we go. The bird here is going to be a bluish texture, light blue. There we go. We're going to apply the same to this bad boy here. Oh, we got to name this bird. Burb. But then we also got to have something for the beak. Bird beaks are just orange, right? Hey, Volt, it was good to see you too, buddy. You'll probably send me something on Instagram here in a little bit, and I will be pleased to watch it. I don't always respond, but I'm always excited to see you there. Oh, you go away. Burbeak. New burb eye. And it is pretty much just black. Let's just not get complicated with this. And then for these guys, we'll just assign them to be Burbeak. There we go. And now we got something that will make a nice preview image. Why does this not have textured? There it is, textured. Why is it still not showing? Huh, it doesn't want to show in the material preview. That's weird. I'm not worried about it. But there we go. There we got a nice little preview image for our autumnal. Do I need to add something else to this? Yes. I need to add leaves to the ground. There needs to be leaves piled up on the ground. I will have to work on that off camera though, but it's looking pretty good. Thank you very much, Jason, for the God bless and have a good day. And, you know, I do want to remind all of you that you are a child of a loving Heavenly Father. He cares about you. And, you know, go out and do something awesome today and find somebody else to help as well, because we all need each other. We're going to cut it off there. I got to go. Thank you all for hanging out with me for a couple hours this morning. If you have cool ideas for what you would like to see me model in the future, I'm open to just about anything. And